Hey, good morning, Knicks. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Knicks Nation. Starting late today. Good afternoon, Knicks Nation. Today is the fifth day, Monday, the 5th day of June, 2023. I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you having a good Monday. Hope you and your family are safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders, who every day are trying to save lives. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us, keep streets and sidewalks clean and disease-free, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover. The teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of prostitution and child prostitution, of pornography and child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators of these things, those that profit from these things, and the perverts that create the demand of which other perverts provide the supply. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children homeless in the United States of America, millions around the world, similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them. Theirs is the kingdom. So, we've been talking a lot about the upcoming Knicks moves. And again, the reason we're talking about this is because the Knicks are at a very critical juncture. Just finished year 3 of the rebuild. Doing great overall. Doing great. Coaching staff, management on the same page. So they've developed the new culture that we've been wanting. The culture that will help the Knicks be long-term sustainable winners. So here we are at this critical juncture where the next move for the Knicks to get further. So they've gotten into the semifinals of the Eastern Conference playoffs, winning the first round. So the next step is the Eastern Conference Finals. That's the next step. So in order to get to the next step, there's a move that may be having to be made. Now, we talked about this before, but let's just go over it again because people get confused with all of the news out there and all of the garbage and clickbait that's out there. Let's just get it, break it down boiling it down to the basics here. There are 2 players that are not going to be on the Knicks come October for sure. One of them is Derrick Rose because his contract is expiring. Okay, I don't have time to argue or deal with y'all that are, still looking at MVP Derrick Rose when that was like 100 years ago. Okay, but his contract expires. He's not going to be a Knick. If he is, it'll be on a minimum deal, but that's irrelevant at this point. He won't play. Okay, then you have Evan Fournier, who already said very openly to all who would listen, he knows he's being traded this summer. Okay, so and why? Because the Knicks want to move that $19 million off their books. He's got a $19 million deal, basically the last year of his contract. They got another option year. That's not going to ever happen. So they're trying to move that $19 million off along with Derrick Rose. And the reason is because they're going to re-sign Joshua Hart. They're going to re-sign him. And RJ's contract kicks in this year. So they got to make room for that in order to be able to add other players. So those are the 2 players that are definitely not going to be here come training camp. Okay, done, finished, bye. Okay, now, then you have 2 players, one of which will be moved, one of which they're going to try to keep. That's Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley, and for different reasons. Similar reasons. Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley are both starter level players, which are never going to be able to start on the New York Knicks because of Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. They won't be able to start. So one of them is going to move, not both of them. The Knicks are going to try to keep one of them because that's too much talent to just let walk out the door that you've drafted and developed. So in a new culture, you don't just replace everybody like some of y'all try to do, like it's NBA 2K, just mix and match. You want to keep continuity. So you're going to lose one of these. You're going to try to keep one. They're going to, we don't know which one. Okay. So one of them is going to be moved. Then, of course, the big question. When it comes down to it, it comes down to RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. Okay. Now, yesterday I did a poll in the live stream we did yesterday on Sunday. And the majority of Knicks Nation would rather keep RJ Barrett and move Julius Randle. And I understand that because Julius Randle, though he has the talent, He's obviously all NBA 2 times in 3 years. He's obviously an all-star 2 times in 3 years. But his attitude sucks. Okay? And he doesn't make the guys around him better. He is a talent, but he doesn't make the guys around him better. This is one issue. With R.J. Barrett, he's extremely inefficient. Extremely inefficient. Okay? He doesn't also play consistently good defense. He tries consistently, but he's not good on a consistent basis on the defensive end of the floor. And with regard to his inconsistency, he doesn't consistently knock down open threes, which he can get a lot of because of Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. He doesn't consistently knock them down. And he doesn't consistently finish at the rim. He gets to the rim, and he's strong getting there, but he doesn't consistently finish it. So he's very inefficient. He's not the greatest defensive player, and he's not the best off the dribble either. Okay, so, but you have a lot of upside with him. He's 22. Okay, so, and in my particular feeling is he's going to be better. He's going to be good eventually. The template is there. His size, his strength, his IQ is there. If you just develop him right, he can be good. But he's not right now. That's the bottom line. But every once in a while, he'll drop a 40 piece on somebody, okay? Or a big game in the playoffs and he goes off. And he has streaks where he looks like you can see the future, okay? But right now, it's not consistently there, okay? So here you have two players. One that's supremely talented right now. That's Julius Randle. One of the best rebounders in the NBA. Can score 25 a game. Okay? And there are, because his win share is around 8, he's going to take about 8 games during the season where he's just going to take over and win the game for you. That's Julius Randle. But you got on the other side his attitude, which sucks. He does not necessarily make everybody around him better. And, of course, well, that's it, basically. So, when you look at the stats, Julius has the better stats. When you look at the stats, Julius and RJ don't really play well together. They don't. Somebody asked me to look up the plus minus, and I did. Julius's plus minus is better than RJ's. Okay, even with his inconsistency. Again, he's much more polished. He's much more talented. Okay, he's got more attitude. RJ has a way better attitude than Julius Randle. Way better. Not even close. But as far as actual being able to play, it's not even close. Julius is the better player. Okay, RJ has more upside. So what you have to ask yourselves, and a lot of people just avoid this, and I get it, maybe because everybody wants to be in their fantasy, but you got to face this question. Are you wanting to wait 2 or 3 years, possibly, for RJ to realize the upside that he has? Or you want to trade him now for somebody that's ready now? And again, we talked about guys that can step in right now and be better in the Knicks than RJ because they're more efficient, because they're more mature as far as not emotionally mature, but as a ball player mature. Okay, your OGs, your Pascal Siakams, your Mikal Bridges, those guys are all more mature basketball-wise than RJ Barrett, Cam Johnson's. They're all mature more, and you got to also factor in the cost. RJ is going to cost you in that $25 to $30 million range. And so you're not going to go trade him for a Zach LaVine that's a better scorer, but he's going to cost you $40 million a year. Okay, so you don't want to do that. Or for DeMar DeRozan, that's going to be 34 years old, and he is definitely not, as a basketball player, way more efficient than RJ. Not going to make that big of a difference. Definitely cannot hit spot-up threes. Okay, he can't. So you got to decide, okay, what you're going to do with this kid. Are you going to try to trade him for an OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam or a Mikal Bridges? What are you doing? Because when you trade him, you're going to have to add something to him, because what you're trading with RJ is upside. That's what you're trading. You're not trading stats because he's not efficient. So you're not trading stats. You're giving away upside for something that can help you today. with RJ Barrett. And you got to decide, would you do that? Okay, because now, again, step back for a second. The Knicks are really on the doorstep of Eastern Conference Finals contention. So do you want that next year? And if you do, are you willing to part with RJ and take some? Now, some people will mention Donovan Mitchell. I don't know why people keep doing that, because you got Jalen Brunson. You put Donovan Mitchell, and then you're going to have Quentin Grimes. So if you traded RJ and you had Grimes, Mitchell, and Brunson, your defense is going to suck. People are going to get into the lane. The Knicks beat Cleveland because Cleveland couldn't stop the Knicks. So you had Darius Garland, All-Star, and Donovan Mitchell, All-NBA. And they couldn't stop the Knicks from getting in the paint. They couldn't stop Brunson. And then trying to stop them because they couldn't, they were trying to stop him, and then Mitchell Robinson took over because you couldn't do nothing with him if you have to pay attention to Brunson, right? So you're going to have that problem if you have Donovan Mitchell with Jalen Brunson. So it doesn't work. It's not even worth trying, okay? Really, it's not. So I don't care what everybody says about the stats and him being talented. He is, but he doesn't fit, okay? So you need somebody that fits. What you need is a wing, a defensive wing that can hit open threes. That's Mikal Bridges. That's Cam Johnson. That's OG Anunoby. Okay, that's the type of player you're looking for. Then there's Julius Randle. If you're going to trade Julius Randle, okay, you need somebody to give you the stats that you're going to miss from him. See, we talked about Kristaps Porzingis. He will definitely. So one guy gets 24 a game, one guy gets 25 a game. You're not losing anything here, okay? And he could play the 4. So can Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam can play the 3 or the 4 or the 5 in small ball lineups. That's how good that cat is. He could do all 3. But then again, you're dealing with Masai Ujiri, okay? So with Julius, you're going to have to replace him with a guy that's a 4 or draft capital and a wing. And then you're going to move Obi up. Because if you're going to trade Julius Randle, you don't need to move Obi Toppin. You got a 4. Okay? So that's the question. But if you want to be real about it, Knicks Nation, just let's be real for a second. You're the Knicks. Okay? You're the Don now. Think of yourself as the Don. And please do not tell me with all of these fancy trade scenarios where 4 or 5 teams and 6 players are involved. I don't want to hear that. We're going to be real here. Okay? Not Fantasy Island. You're the Don. Or if you're going to trade RJ or Julius because you need to make the Eastern Conference Finals next year, who are you trading? And what are you getting? You have to ask that question. Okay? And this is a weird scenario because I'm telling you, Kristaps Porzingis is going to be available. And a lot of people, including myself, would not mind Julius Randle for Kristaps Porzingis. Would not mind that at all. Because Kristaps next to RJ and Mitch Robinson makes everybody better. But really, you would trade RJ. You're going to get more for him than Randle. Randle established. In RJ, you're selling upside. Future. That's what you're selling. If you got Kristaps for RJ, okay, you're going to move Mitchell Robinson, one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA, a defensive anchor. You're going to move him to the mob deep, and you're going to have a tremendous mob deep. Okay, you are. You might move Kristaps Porzingis for Obi and RJ because now you're going to start Randle anyway. You're going to have Mitchell Robinson coming, into the second unit. You're going to start KP at the 5, and now you're going to need a wing. Then here comes your Alec Burks of the world with your mid-level exception. You could do this, okay? This is a hard nut though, and I'm telling y'all, one of the 2 dudes are going to be moved. They could run it back. They could run it back and just run it whole back. They could run this whole thing back and go from here. But again, this is what you got to think. you're looking to make ECF next year. And I believe, even with the inefficiency of RJ, I believe that you have to understand, with some players, like Julius Randle, where he is right now is where he's going to be until he starts his decline. He's in his prime. So you got like 2 or 3 more seasons of him at this level. And he's not going to really improve a whole lot overall. His IQ is not going to improve a whole lot. He's just going to be, that's who he is. He's going to be a 25 and 10 rebounding machine. He's going to win you games some nights. He's going to lose you some with his attitude. He's going to piss you off with his attitude. But that's what he is. You can't look at RJ that way. RJ is now going to be 23 in a couple weeks, okay? RJ is not going to be the same guy at 25 that he is at 23. I don't believe, okay? In my estimation, you're going to have a different player. It's like, again, people forget. You're looking at Jimmy Butler right now in the finals. This wasn't Jimmy Butler at age 23. This wasn't him. Okay, if you were to go back and look at Jimmy Butler at age 23, it's a different ball player because he has developed over time. The heart was always there, okay? The determination, the talent was always there, but he had to develop over time. And most people don't remember that or refuse to think about it. That's a different guy than what you're looking at right now. Even Giannis Antetokounmpo, when he first came in the league at age 19, you look at him at 21, he wasn't what he is right now. Okay, by the time he got to 23, 24, he was MVP. But I mean, when you first came in the league, his first 2 or 3 seasons, you saw flashes, but it wasn't the MVP yet. It's the same with RJ. When you're seeing right now, it's flashes. He's going to be a better player. I'm very confident in that. But do you want to wait for that? That's the question you got to ask. If you're the Don, you got to ask that question. Okay? Do you want to wait for that? Because if you don't, okay. I mean, you're not going to kill yourself by if you can swing a deal for a McCall or a KP, even a Cam Johnson, we talked about that, or an OG, or definitely a Pascal, you're not hurting yourself. You're not. You are definitely moving forward. You trade RJ for any of these guys, you're moving forward. There's no doubt about it, okay? But you're giving up upside, okay, for later on. And that's what you're dealing with. So you got to decide, because like I said, you know what you're getting with Randle. He's still going to coast on defense sometimes. But again, he's going to win basketball games for you by himself. There's some games where he's not going to coast on defense. That's the thing that kills us about him. Some nights he gets engaged and he just could play, okay? All NBA level. Then there's other nights when you need him and he doesn't show up on the defensive end of the basketball floor. And if he's not hitting his shots, well, he's pretty much worthless. Okay? But he's going to win you a lot of basketball games. So that's the question it comes down to. And really, like I said, we're not even... Derrick Rose is gone. Evan Fournier is out. Forget them. Okay? Out. You got enough point guards. You don't need Derrick Rose. Grimes is your 2 guard of the future, and he's your 2 guard now. Done. Don't even need to talk about that. So now, OB and RQ, first round draft picks that are now ready to start somewhere, or at least get significant minutes. Well, at least in OG's case, RQ wants to start. So you're going to trade one of them to get what you can for him now. You're going to try to keep one of them if you can. And then there's the RJ and Randle scenario. Okay, so with Mitchell Robinson, you're keeping Mitchell Robinson. I don't have time for people that don't understand the importance of Mitch Rob. We went through this in his first 3 seasons, and then when he went off last year, and then he got his $60 million, and then whenever he's playing healthy with the Knicks, they won 8 straight, then they won 9 straight, and without him, they lost. See, I don't want to have to explain that to y'all. Some of y'all just want to look at stats and say he doesn't average enough points a game. You don't know what you're talking about. He's not being traded. Okay, Mitchell Robinson's not going anywhere. You're not replacing that defensive anchor unless you're getting, I don't know, aside from Embiid or Jokic, which you ain't getting. Then you're talking about a Gobert, which why would you pay $40 million for a guy you're paying up $15 million for? So he's not going nowhere. So either Mitch Rob is starting or he's going to be on Mobb Deep, but he's going to be there. Brunson is obviously going to be there. Grimes ain't going nowhere. That's your future right there. Okay, none of those guys are going anywhere. Anybody else, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to be real. Much as I love RJ and I believe in his upside, to be real about it, they'll probably keep Julius Randle. They'll probably keep Julius. Even if they add KP, they'll probably keep Julius Randle and trade RJ Barrett. They'll probably do that. Okay? And I hate it. I hate it. But also, I gotta admit, gotta be real about it. You get that scenario, the Knicks are Eastern Conference Finals threats. Period. Next year. Okay? So that's what it really comes down to. And I believe, really, I'm telling you, they could run it back. I don't think they're going to do it, though. The Knicks could run this back. They could just run this back, all 12 dudes, run it back. Except for, Evan and Derrick Rose. But aside from that, they could just run it back from Jericho and Deuce all the way up, run it back, and I think there'll be 50-plus wins next year. But with the talent that's available now, this summer, I don't think they're going to do that. See, the Cam Johnson is a restricted free agent. Cam Johnson is never going to be an all-star. He's a mature player, though. He's much more polished than RJ is. He's a solid 15-point-a-game scorer. He's not a great defender. Okay, he's not. But he will knock down open threes on a consistent basis, okay? And he's not going to cost you $25 million a year. He's just not. Okay, you could probably get him. You'd have to the Nets have to match because he's restricted. So you can get him for $15 million, or you can trade RJ or whatever you want to do. But he would be a solid piece. We talked about that before. He would be a solid piece in the starting lineup, something consistent for the Knicks. Okay. Then of course you have Mikal Bridges, which would be the prize coming out of Brooklyn. I don't think Brooklyn would want him coming to the Knicks, but I do believe he would want to come to the Knicks. There's the whole Villanova thing, and then of course, just the fit. I mean, he'd be an excellent fit. But I don't think, the Knicks would have to really offer the Nets, it'd have to be 2 first-round picks, RJ Barrett. They'd have to offer some stuff. Like that. I think that would get it done. 2 unprotecteds, RJ Barrett, and that's it, because that would get it done. You're giving the Knicks future capital, RJ plus, and they're taking McCall. That might happen. You could do that because McCall is under contract, RJ's under contract, and the contracts are pretty close. So some first round capital. I feel like McCall Bridges is that guy. Like if I could pick a wing aside from KP, Siakam, and we talked about Grant. Aside from those guys, if I had the one guy that I could get that's a possible available, because the Nets are in that strange scenario right now, it would be Mikal Bridges, because he would fit perfectly. Knocks down open threes. He's all league defense. Okay, high IQ. Played with Jalen Brunson before. Played with Josh Hart before. That would be perfect. That would be perfect. But I don't know if the Nets would go for that. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if the Nets would go for that. But that would be perfect. But realistically, there's Grant and there's KP that are actually mentioned as available. They're actually available. KP can play the 4 and the 5. Grant can play the 3 and the 4. So you can trade or sell on RJ or Randle and get either of those guys. Like I said, realistically, as much as I favor RJ, I got to be real. I mean, Randle's ready now. I mean, he's what he is. But if you were to get a KP, he'd be the second option KP. That would make Randle more dangerous, because you can't double him. And you can't double Brunson and him and KP at the same time. That would make the Knicks very dangerous, okay? That's what I'm saying. So we'll have to see how this works out. But, there's a lot of ways this can go. But to me, it boils down to Randle or RJ. And I'm just trying to prepare you. Don't be surprised if they move RJ. Don't be surprised if they moved him. The upside is there. If Portland wanted to start rebuilding because Dame Dollar done put his house on the market. Y'all didn't know that. If you didn't know that, Dame Dollar's putting his mansion in Oregon on the market. That means he's ready to move. Portland has a top 3 pick. Mr. Miller might be going to Portland. They already got Shaden Sharp. They got Anthony Simons. They could use a 23-year-old with 4 years NBA experience. So that's all I'm saying. This can go a lot of ways. But like I said, it really boils down to RJ and Randle. And as much as I hate to say it, as much as I actually hate it, I got to be real. It'll probably be RJ being moved. I mean, unless Randle, send me to Dallas or something. I don't know if that's going to happen. It'll be RJ. And I hate that. But again, at the same time, remember, if you did trade RJ, whether it's Grant or Mikal Bridges or Kristaps Porzingis, you're a threat for the Eastern Conference Finals now. There's no more having to wait for development because Grimes is good enough right now. Brunson is obviously. RQ is obviously. In my view, Obi is. They just need minutes. You got your squad, okay? We are just waiting on the maturity of RJ Barrett, which I believe in. But like I said, if I had to make a move this summer, and I'm the Knicks and this is money we're dealing with, this is my job on the line if I'm the Don, nobody would argue with you keeping Julius Randle. From a basketball perspective, nobody's going to argue with you. Nobody's going to say you made a mistake in trading RJ Barrett. They're not going to do it. I would hate it. Some of y'all, out of y'all would hate it. But let's be real. That's what we're talking about. Okay? So buckle up. It's going to be an interesting ride. Very interesting ride this summer. Buckle up, y'all. Buckle up. That's all I got to say. Y'all enjoy your Monday. Shalom.